Hey guys, I'm making this video to show how I do my taper on a double braid rope. There's always people asking questions about what's the best pattern, a 554 or a 445 or a 223 or a whatever. And I think it can be overwhelming for people sometimes. So this is how I do it. There's less counting, but you still have to be aware of what you're doing. It isn't fully random. So I'm on a 24 strand rope. I know I'm going to pull 12 of the strands. I'm going to make sure that I'm pulling 6 that are going to the left and 6 that are going to the right. So I do have to count that out. And I know more or less how much I want them spaced. The most common pattern that people use on a 24 strand rope is a 445 or a 554, and we can count that that is, you know, from this black strand to that black strand is 6. So as I'm working my way down my taper, I know I'm not going to go any further than one full count of strands, because that would make it a really long taper, which would be fine, but it just mean I'm trying to bury a little more extra mass. So here we go. So I usually pinch the core down right here, and then this is the distance that I start, like the thickness of my, that thickness right there from this point where the core exits to the tip of my thumb. That's my sort of random measurement, and I just pull, in this case, a blue strand and a red strand. And the technique is that I'm pinching it down so that I can just pull straight out without distorting the rest of the rope here. So there's one, and then we could count it out and go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know it's somewhere in this area, but I just pinch it down and, oh, this one doesn't want to come out. He's like, no, don't cut me. Oh, I got double. I was grabbing 2 of the strands there. Here we go. So there's one going that way, one going that way, and we just work our way down. On this particular rope, all of the strands going to the right are red, so I know at every spot that I'm pulling out 2 strands, one of them will be red and one of them will either be black, red, black, blue, or yellow. I'll go right about here. That one. So I'm making sure to take a red at every spot, and sometimes I forget to count, so I have to go back. After these 2, let's see where we're at. All right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So that's it. And since I've more or less evenly spaced them out and taken half the strands going in each direction, the tail is holding itself together. If you're not paying attention and you take too many from one side, the tail down here will just completely come apart on you. So that's it, and we'll cut these strands and I will proceed with the rest of the splice. All right, and if you want to see the tools that I'm using to pull those strands, I pick from 3 different things. The first one is the Brian Toss Point Hudson Fid, or PHID, and I've rounded off the tip of this so that it slides under these big strands really easy. I can just pop it right under and it pops out the other side pretty clearly. It does come sharp from the factory, so to use it on larger strands, it's better with a blunter tip. If I'm doing smaller rope with smaller strands, I use this guy right here, and this is just an awl from a hardware store that I've done the same thing where I've polished it blunt on the front. And then finally, the other thing that I use is my splicing scissors all have the front rounded off in that same fashion, and it'll let me slip it underneath the strands, and I can just snip them as I go, and then I'll have like these 12 little strands hanging there, and then I just pull them all individually. So those are the tools that I use.